Hey guys, hey Lisa. Sorry, so this is our first time using the YouTube Live, and there's a much longer delay on YouTube Live than there is on Instagram. So I wasn't sure what you guys were seeing actually. Um, let's see. Just waiting for more people to come in. Hi, can everyone say hi in the chat so that I know that you're in here? Just throw up an emoji or something. I'm sorry, guys. My neighbors are very loud outside. They're having a whole party. You know, this is the Bronx. Hey, Free. The BNC is in here. French. Hey, guys. So the way this is going to work is I am going to introduce each podcast. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on here. This is the Pods for Bonds showcase. Okay, so I woke up about last Monday. It was the morning after my open letter. And I really was down and I felt like everyone was doing their part. Sorry, guys. Everyone was doing their part. And I just felt like I wasn't contributing enough. You know, speaking on my Instagram, speaking on my podcast, yes, that is something, but I didn't know exactly what I was doing, you know, to contribute. So I woke up one morning and I was just like, I think I want to have some type of showcase where I can showcase our thoughts on these topics, but also raise money and send it for a good cause. So in the beginning, I wanted it to be just for the New York City bonds because we are all from New York. Every podcast here today is from New York City. But then the bails were lifted for protesters. So I was like, okay, what can we do now? But just because the bails were lifted for the protesters doesn't mean people still aren't getting racially profiled. It doesn't mean people are getting pulled over and stopped for dumb shit just because of the color of their skin. So the bail project, I'm a little nervous, guys. The bail project is actually something that's run nationwide, and they help post bails for people who have been racially profiled and things of that nature. Hi, guys. This is my first time using this, and it's a lot. There's a lot of screens here, and I'm freaking out a little bit. Okay, so all proceeds will go directly to the bail project. The Cash App is Do I Look Fat Podcast. If Daisy, please, can you pin that in the comments for me, please? If you want to send anything over, please do. And now we're just gonna get the show started. I think we're gonna bring on Chris from BSing with Chris. He is our first podcast. We're just gonna unmute him real quick.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hey. Hi, Chris.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm actually in Florida right now. I came down yesterday. So, it's nice and hot over here, but I'm doing good. How are you?
We're good. I mean, it's nice and hot over here too, but we're still, locked up a little bit.
I know. I was happy as hell because I went and got myself a haircut today. I was like, ooh, it feels so good. I was so happy. I was like, oh, this feels good. This is interesting. It's just been a while since I had gotten a haircut. So
let me tell you, I cannot wait until I can get my pedicure. Like literally, that is the first thing I'm booking. Anything else I can live with, but I need to get my toes done. Like
I'm getting a pedicure tomorrow. Not to rub it in your face. I'm just saying,
I hear that. How was the flight down there?
The flight was fantastic. Flight
Yeah.
was great. It wasn't a lot, like, it felt so much more smooth than, like how it previously was, because now they're not, there's less people, no one's sitting in the middle anymore, so you can keep
Hmm.
your distance from others. So it was actually really good.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking of taking Ethan to Florida actually next month for our birthdays. Nothing is going to
Oh,
be happening up here. Yeah. Our birthdays are 2 days apart.
that's right. Yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yes, yes.
So
Do it.
I'm thinking of doing that. All right. So, Chris, this is Chris,
What's
everybody,
up?
from the
Hey
BSing with
y'all.
Chris podcast. He is amazing. The BSing with Chris podcast is basically a podcast that encompasses everything that has to do with life. And Chris's story is one to be heard.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I can't agree more, honestly. Like the whole basis of my podcast is to bring people on, have them share their stories, people who are very organic, who are very genuine, who are very truthful, and that they live in their truth and don't mind sharing their stories either. You know what I'm saying? It can be very difficult to find people who want to be very truthful,
Hmm.
but I know a lot of people that I have conversations with, and they're so sweet, they're so nice, and they're ready to just let the world know. So my podcast, I want people to listen to it and be like, you know what? Wow, Chris went through that, or Steffi went through that, or whoever they're listening to. I want people to know that they're not alone. You know, so
Hmm.
that's definitely the basis of what BSing with Chris is. And we get into a little bit of entertainment as well. What's going on in the TV world, movie world, and all that good stuff.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to give you the platform right
Oh,
now. Um, I know you guys are going to enjoy it. He always has the best things to say. Um, I'll be back in a little bit. All right.
all right.
Okay.
So, guys, like she said, my name is Chris, host of BSing with Chris. Everything that's going on in the world right now, especially with Black Lives Matter, I feel is so profound. A lot of things have happened. However, if you guys don't know, I am a gay male and I am married. So happy Pride Month to my LGBTQIA plus community, because we keep on adding the pluses. I can't even keep up anymore. All these all these letters. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But a little history lesson for you guys. Um, we celebrate Pride every June at the end of June due to the Stonewall riots that happened in 1969. And those Stonewall riots were led by Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. Both were Black trans women of sorry, I'm a little nervous, just in case you didn't know. But yes, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera were Black trans women and also women of color. And this is why we celebrate Pride at the end of every June. Stonewall riots were like a 3 to 4 day thing. So when people sit back and say, "Oh, rioting doesn't work, protesting doesn't work," haha, it's not true. It does work. This is what led to us as gay people being able to get our rights. The reason why we're able to marry now, the reason why we're able to even go to the same bars, restaurants as straight people and not be attacked for it. It was basically like, people of color, gay people of color, Black trans women of color being like, you know what? I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and fucking tired of you harassing me. I just want to be here. I just want to have a drink. I just want to have a good time. Stop harassing me. And so I feel like it definitely correlates to, Black Lives Matter, because the Stonewall riots was basically the straw that broke the camel's back, where my community decided enough is enough. And the same thing that happened with George Floyd, it was basically the straw that broke the camel's back. And Black people and people of color decided enough is enough. You know, it's sad that we have to get to that point to be realized, to realize, what, finally, I've had it. But we have to get there. This is something that we have to do time and time again. When we speak about Black Lives Matter, something that we need to understand is that we're also talking about all Black lives. Not just male, not just women. We're talking about all Black lives, and that includes my community, the LGBTQIA community, and specifically the trans community, because they are being murdered, at an alarming rate. They're being murdered often. In just the past 24 hours, two more trans women of color were killed. And it's just the saddest thing. My community is often ostracized. People look down on us, but we're just here to have a good time, and we just want to, have the same rights as everyone else. But definitely our community can understand what Black Lives Matters means. And I think that's really one of the biggest things that we try to convey. Today I read a tweet that said, "You can't be unapologetically Black and anti-Black, queer, trans, fat, poor, disabled, etc. Otherwise, you just unapologetically want the same power to oppress other people just like white folks have over you." And it's the entire truth. It's unfair. If you're gonna support Black Lives Matter, you have to understand that means all Black lives, male, female, it doesn't matter if they're gay, lesbian, trans. And guys, things like this make me a little bit emotional, because my community definitely, we've been through a lot, but we stand hand in hand with Black Lives Matter, no matter what. Just so you guys know.
I get that, Chris. And honestly, not even to cut you off, but I feel like this is why we're here. I wanted to have a space where we all know, like, if we don't all band together, whether you're Black, trans, Afro-Latina, whatever, like, there's a bigger picture out here that we all have to fight, and we literally will not win unless we stop fighting each other and just get it together. And that's really what I want. Like, I want all of my friends to know, like, this is where we stand, and I need you to stand on the same side with me. And if not,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
I 100% agree.
Definitely. It's so sad how these are still lives, and people don't understand that. It doesn't matter what's before the life, whether it's Black, trans, or anything like that. These are still lives. And the fact that we have to literally stand here and say Black Lives Matter, Black women lives matter, Black trans lives matter, that's ridiculous to me. It shouldn't make a difference.
No, absolutely not. And sometimes, these are things that we fight for, to be heard, to be seen, to make sure that we can have the same rights as everyone else. And the fight doesn't stop, and it doesn't end. And we're going to continue fighting, and we're going to, and we're just going to do what we have to do to be heard.
Right.
But it saddens me that trans people are usually the butt of jokes. They're they're the butt of being murdered. Everything that they have to go through. Yes, I'm a gay male, so I go through less than a trans person, but that doesn't mean I won't support a trans person. So
exactly.
It's just
all of these pronouns shouldn't make a difference.
Exactly. And I'm sick and tired, let me tell you.
Yeah, and that's also, you brought up the meme earlier, but I saw a meme as well, and it was like, oh, white people are tired, or people are tired of me talking about this. And it's like, well, won't you think Black people are tired of experiencing it? Like,
Absolutely.
you're tired of just listening to it. Imagine Absolutely. That being your everyday life. Like, this is what people are not grasping, I believe. Yeah. But that's a whole other subject. Daisy, do we have any questions in the chat? Any questions for Chris? Any questions so questions. Far?
They better. Oh, y'all don't want to ask me nothing? That's fine.
No questions, no questions. Okay. Well, think of them, because we're going to bring Chris back in a little bit. I'm just going to ask him to turn off his camera real quick.
Of course.
And we are about to bring on our next guest. Okay. She is the host of Double Dose of Raw Talk. She wants an entrance, so she's just telling me to hold on really quickly. We have the host of Double Dose of Raw Talk. Okay. She is a vibrant and outspoken Latinx woman. She is a single mom from the Bronx, New York. Stand up. She hosts the Double Dose of Raw Talk podcast, and she's always up for a juicy and intriguing conversation. I'm going to ask her if she's ready to come on. I believe she is. Okay.
Is it good? Hi.
Yes. Hey, Daisy. How are you?
Oh, how's everyone? Oh my
We're
God.
great.
You look great too. You look fantastic.
I know. Look at us. All dolled up like we didn't work today. All of that.
And we were absolutely working today. We were.
Essential workers, you know.
Absolutely. This is phenomenal. It's fantastic to be here with you, Steph. Just listened in a little bit on Chris. So this is an amazing platform to do this for everyone. So thank you for having me on your platform, on your show.
Thank you so much for coming here. So we have conversations all the time about everything that's going on. Being a, lighter skinned Latinx woman, how do you feel about the workplace nowadays with, speaking out on Black Lives Matter?
It's actually interesting you are asking me that. I do work in healthcare industry, so of course there is a little bit of privacy involved with that, so I won't disclose all the information. There has definitely been, and I'm sure everyone who has been watching the news and seeing all the activities going on, there has definitely been hashtag, if we call it that, of healthcare workers supporting the cause against and the fight against racism and discrimination, especially in the healthcare industry, as it does pertain and affect healthcare disparities. While I think it's great, I don't think it's enough. I think the conversation still begins amongst us. I think it takes us, all the essential workers, when it comes at least to that industry, and pretty much in any industry, to bring it to the table. We are the ones who have to be responsible and accountable to bring discussions, to bring awareness, to bring the education piece, and not necessarily leave it to what we like to call leadership to do it for us. If we're going to be very transparent in most of any corporate company, corporate worlds, or even in my case, healthcare, even if you look at the fashion industry, different type of industries, a lot of the time you see in leadership, there's only a certain type of demographic and skin color, if I may say so. So we cannot leave it up to them to speak for us. We are the ones who need to speak and shine light and cause the awareness to come up so that we can really wake up everybody and make them realize that there is a bigger picture here, as far as all of our communities go, especially our Black community.
Definitely, definitely. So I just wanted to touch on that because I know that's something that you have been dealing with in the past couple of days, especially. So I just wanted to give you a little space to get that
Thank you
out to everybody. We are going to go into your segment right now. I know that you have a guest with you here today. Are you ready to bring them on?
I am ready. I do believe my guest is ready. Should you just bring my guest on for me, please?
Yes, I will.
Hi, everyone.
Here we go.
There's my guest.
You can hear me?
Yes.
All right.
All right, everyone. Okay, so you guys are getting a kind of like a bonus right now, but for such a great, essential, and important cause, you right now on Steffi Kiss's platform of Do I Look Fat podcast, you are joining a quick segment of Double Dose of Raw Talk. I am bringing to you one of my most amazing featured guests, Amir. I was given the pleasure of having Amir on my platform, specifically on the episode which I titled A Dose, No Pulse, No Justice, Pass the Mic, and it was released on June 1st. Amir, before we get started, would you like to introduce yourself very briefly to our audience?
Yes, I am Amir. Handler on Instagram is Big Sis _energy. That is me. I give that. That is what it is.
Thank you again, Amir, for joining me. we basically wanted to bring to this segment not only just a very brief reflection of what that episode was, and I do hope that if any of you have not had the chance to listen into it, please join us. Go to my platform to listen. And it was a very deep conversation. It was an essential conversation, an important conversation. So we want to shine light on that. But before we do get started, I do want to take a moment to just say, you know, just to recognize Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery. They are just the very few of the people who we are here as a reason and as a cause to have these conversations that need to be had at this point on a daily basis. And sometimes with a little, not a little bit, a full throttle of a fight. That idea of that episode was just a moment between Amir and I where we kind of like just vented to each other a little bit on a shared post that Amir put on an IG story. It resonated with me because the specific post was actually about a reflection on our fellow Latino friends who were very silent during this time. And there were actually, and notably, specifically, Afro-Latino friends of both Amir and I that we realized were just not speaking on any of this. And so that is when Amir and I decided to come on my platform and talk about this and dig deep on it, on what our opinion is and the why we are so strong on it. Amir, do you want to share with the audience what exactly is it that your stand on this is? I'm sure there are people who have not heard the episode yet, but we have to continue the conversation.
Yes, we do. I was bringing light to the fact of how some Latins, I'm not going to say all, because some are aware of their lineage and ancestors and pathology at beginning, but some who are more fair try to take that privilege of, oh, I am not Black into consideration and try to use that as a ploy to just rid themselves of not being involved in a Black Lives Matter movement. Right. So letting them know, like, all right, if you are involved in my life in any form, I'm going to address you and let you know specifically, I'm not going to allow that to be something. Like, you don't have to claim Black. I'm fine with that. But you're not going to stand to the side and rape Black culture and pull from it and say the word nigga. But then all of a sudden, when Black issues are occurring, you're standing off to the side, silent, and just, you know, ghost, basically.
Right.
And exactly. It's like, I'm not going to allow that anymore. So friends, businesses, companies, literally, like in the last 10 minutes, I literally just had to unfollow somebody just now. I'm keeping that same energy the whole time. I'm not playing with no one because I feel like you're not with this movement, you against it. And I think you have your ability to have your own opinion, but don't be upset when I'm not going to allow that opinion to absorb around me.
Exactly. Exactly. And that was actually where we really connected, because it was kind of like we were both on this deleting and blocking spree at the same time. I call it getting scissor happy. I get very, very, very scissor happy and I just start cutting people off. And I did not feel a sense of guilt at all, but I realized that my anger was getting stronger and stronger because here I caught myself arguing with people on Facebook, arguing with people on Instagram, arguing with people on so many social media platforms. And at the end of the day, what was even more hurtful was that these are people I grew up with. These are people I was raised with. These are friendships of 15 years plus. These are family members. I had no shame in cutting off family members. I have no shame in arguing and raising the awareness. I shared with Amir, and this is just a smidge of what Afro-Latino is, correct? Because Afro-Latino can hit pretty much any Latin American country. You know, when you do the research and you educate yourself and you become aware of how far this goes. I shared with Amir during the episode, there is an actual term of Afro-Ecuadorians in my country. There is an actual population of this. And I have Ecuadorian family members and friends who will denounce that and not recognize it. And so this is where the fight comes in. This is where we have to make people aware, educate them over and over and over again. Make them realize that our history goes way back and our roots go way back. And I shared with you, I think that is huge when it comes to our Latinos, Latinas, Latinx community, because if they were more aware of the history in their countries, When they are in this country, then they will be more interested in being educated on the history of this country and when it comes to our Black community. And they would be in more support of what the real picture is and what the real cause is, because racism is not, you know, it's not particular of anyone. It pretty much, one of the things Amir said, and I want to be able to quote you here, at the end of the day, when they group all of us together, we're all the same.
Yes, we are.
That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line, right?
Right on the nose. Yes. We're all the same to them in their eyes. It does not matter. Like literally, and the crazy part is, even some of their supposed, you know, white adjacent people, you know, like Italians were looked at as being the niggas of the white group for the longest, because they didn't fuck with them. And so it's like, no matter what, group together, come together, understand it's all just a living experience. We're all trying to make it in the world and just basically get through it, support each other, love each other, and make it happen. Like, I love everyone. I can love everyone. But don't think I'm gonna sit here and be a dumbass and allow you to just, you know, throw hate towards me and I'm gonna just sit there and take it. No.
I agree.
You got the wrong one.
I agree with you. And the history, again, the history goes deeper, and this is why we do need to take a stand. And this is why we need to say, no, this stops here. It's not going to happen. Just because I know you this long doesn't mean you get a pass. We talked about that. We talked about that too. You know, when is enough enough? Who is it? I mean, at some point we have to realize nobody deserves just a pass just because. You know, think about it. You and I are in one room together. We bring our friends together. And underneath it all, they feel some type of way. They feel some type of way about me. They feel some type of way about you. They feel some type of way about our beliefs. And so can you really trust? Can you really? It's one thing to respect opinions. Is another of who you're keeping in company. It's another of who's in your surroundings. That is the whole other area that, you know, it's about respect. It's about your dignity. There is such a big picture here that needs to be brought to light. And Amir is someone who just has such a strong voice, a strong presence. And for me, when you just shared that, it was even eye-opening to me that that's exactly what we need to do. We need to call out everyone who is not speaking up. One last thing I do definitely want to share, and it's something that is very huge to me, and Amir knows this, and just as Steffi introduced me, I am a mom and I am a single mom. And so my role as a mom comes first and foremost before anything else. And as a mother, one of the most atrocious things I saw on social media, and we spoke about it, Amir, someone in the Latin community shared, you know, where were the Black mothers when our kids were caged with the immigration and ICE, and when all the kids were basically placed in cages and what we would refer as concentration camps, right? Because that's what it looked like, basically. And when I tell you I had an army of people, Amir, looking for that post, that response, there was a okay? Someone found a picture of all Black mothers on the front line, in front of these cages, protesting on behalf of the Latino moms, the Latina moms, the Latinx community. So they were there for us. And so when that post, you know, did come up, I wanted to give you this update, Amir. I didn't get to give you this update, but I went on a Facebook frenzy and I commented that on everybody's wall that was commenting about this because I needed them to understand where all our Black mothers were. They were there for us. And so with that being said, I feel strongly that it is up to us now to be there for them. They are crying for their kids. When it comes to George Floyd, Amir, do you remember what was it that he said in the last minutes? Who was he crying out for? Because
he called out for his mother. He called out for his mother.
He called out for his mother. And that's the part that is really heartbreaking, because aside from race and aside from all of that, I mean, who doesn't call out for their mom? Where's the human part in us?
And the major part is he called out for his dead mother. She had passed away before all this occurred. So him calling out for her, knowing that she passed on, literally, you can show how it reverted that man back to being a scared child. And all he wanted was comfort at that moment. But I digress on that because, you know, I'll start going off on a whole tangent.
I know. And this is why I wanted you to come in and to speak with me on this. You know, again, this segment is just to shine light and continue the conversation. And I will not stop the conversation. I know Amir is not stopping the conversation.
No.
A good chance Amir will come back on Double Dose of Raw Talk so we could continue on and on with these conversations. And so please feel free to to follow my platform. I am on all social media platforms, Double Dose of Raw Talk Podcast. There is a Raw Talk on everything and anything, but this is definitely something that we're going to keep talking about. Amir, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience?
Take inventory of the energies you allow to surround you. Understand each interaction could be a learning lesson, or it could be an eye-opening situation, and it all depends on how you perceive it. Just walk in love, be happy. It's hard right now, but trust me, you got to get the little happiness in while you can. So little things and self-care is major. But yeah, stay strong, y'all. I love everybody. And it's Amir with a Y, not with a I.
So Big Sis, there's a comment for you, or a question for you in the chat. I saw you went to protest in your area. What was your personal experience like? And did you have any reservations about going?
I had reservations about going because I created a group. So I basically told my friends, I tried to make sure that we all gathered together and we all traveled as one. So me being the nurturer and I guess security person for everybody, I felt like I had to, especially the girls, I felt like I had to make sure they were good. So heaven forbid if anything was to occur, I would put myself in harm's way to ensure that they're going to be fine. So that was a little apprehension, but I thought about it. I prayed on it. And I was just like, I need to go regardless. I'm letting them aware and letting them know, all right, we're going. This is a possibility. So prepare for this by bringing certain objects. But we all went. We stood for about 4 hours, actually, and not a hiccup. It was very well organized. And mind you, this was organized by 18, 19-year-olds. Children organized this. And literally that young lady was up there at that podium for an hour straight talking, giving us statistics, giving us information, giving us petitions, going off. And I literally felt happy. People were staging the crowds. The amount of love and everything. Even I was surprised, mind you, I'm not trans, but I'm trans adjacent because I guess you call it gender nonconforming. I don't know. I ain't got no term for it. I've been this way for 32 years, so it's whatever. But in society standards, I would be considered gender nonconforming. So for me to come out there as I am, and literally I went in comfortable clothing that I know for a fact I'm going to walk in this, I'm going to be me and do this how I want to do it. Literally walk through the whole thing without a problem. No scares, no problems. It was happiness. People were, handing out fruit snacks and water. Everything was so well organized and so beautifully done. I felt happy literally in 10 minutes in. And then once we get to the 4th hour, I was like, if it wasn't getting dark, I don't know, okay, I'll keep staying out here. But I will be back tomorrow, actually, because there will be a protest in Newark, which I will be attending in my own city. So,
sis. So just to touch on that, you said, the protests were organized by 19-year-olds, or the people you went with were?
The people that organized it were about 18, 19-year-olds. Some of them had just graduated from high school. Some of them were their first year in college. All young people.
Yeah, that's actually beautiful. And I keep on saying this, we're in our 30s. Most of us here are in our 30s or above. I mean, some of you are late 20s, okay? But honestly, we have to teach our generation of kids the right way to live. And that is how things are going to change. Because, we grew up fighting our parents. No, Ma, you can't say that. No, Dad. You don't know how many times I've said those words. But it's I'm teaching her and she'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know. And that's, it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. But it's our responsibility that we know what's right and what's wrong, has been going wrong for years, decades, centuries. But it's our responsibility to, hold people that we love accountable and to teach our youth. So there was actually another question in the chat, Daisy, and it says, has your son asked about how he can contribute to the cause, and what did you tell him?
Yes, actually, I'm very transparent with my son on everything that happens pretty much in the world. He is also a teenager. He Googles everything, he YouTubes everything. He's very involved with the news. He is someone who is like his mother and speaks up on everything and anything. So with that being said, he actually saw that I was making donations to certain organizations. And so he does have his allowance money, and he actually did go in and donate it to Black Lives Matter, exactly when I did. You know, and to be quite honest with you, when it comes to having the talk with him, my son is a very light-skinned Hispanic boy. He is half Puerto Rican, half Ecuadorian, but on both sides of his family, he has Black uncles. You know, and so when it comes to that, he has to be aware of certain things. For one of the things which I did share with Amir, you know, he has to know of where his light skin comes into play and where his accountability and responsibility is. Also, as a child, to be quite honest with you guys, very transparent again on my platform, my son only has Black friends, and that's just what it is, and that's just what it's always been with my son. So as we have, you know, I've been raising him, I've had to have those conversations with him now that he's a teenage boy, and now that his friends come over to the house and they do sit outside on a step stool, even though they're in my supervision, I always need him to be aware of what a situation is going to look like. You know, if a cop approaches one of his teenage friends, you know, who he calls his brothers, what could happen and what his role is and what he should say. You know, he has to be in support of his friends and make sure he's protecting them too. So he cannot be a fast mouth, because that's just really going to jeopardize and put in danger his friends. And so that's something that I have to be very transparent with him. And this is why we educate in this household. And he is also very, anything that I support, his interest is to be educated. And he also supports. He's a kid who's very, very, you know, boisterous about these important causes, pretty much. Yeah.
No, that's good. And it's good that you're having these conversations. And he's very knowledgeable, Daisy. I will say that about your son. He's very knowledgeable. He's very respectful. But that just goes to show that you're teaching him the way that it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's our responsibility. It's part of it. It's part of it. Thank you. And Amir, you and I spoke about this as soon as we ended the recording. Amir gave me a bunch of other documentaries that we've been sitting down and we've been watching. I need the education to continue and the awareness to continue.
Right, because we know firsthand, we can't count on the public school system to tell us the whole story. I actually read something the other day, and it was like, you always see these pictures of like the protests with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and they're always in black and white. And they did that on purpose so we could think that it was a very long time ago, when in reality it wasn't. That the Civil Acts right, the Civil Acts right was passed like in the 60s. Like the president is older than that law is. Something like that.
Yeah, around that time frame.
Right, like
that wasn't so long ago.
Not to put anybody's age out there, but I have, you know, close family members that are older than that. You know, like it's not that long ago, but they make it seem like it's so much further away, and we're so much far removed from it when we're really not. It's right in our backyard.
Us grateful. It's to make us grateful, and you know, oh my God, this happened. Look at what we're at now. You're sitting in here in a classroom with other mixed people, able to read this book, which is probably fucking 30 years old itself. And, you know, all right, you know, yeah.
All right. Before we get into a whole other thing, we're going to let Double Dose of Raw Talk and Amir leave. We're going to bring on the crew from Bustelos and Cigarellos. If you have any questions for them, put it in the chat. We might bring them back after as well. Seeing how everything goes.
Bye guys. Bye.
Peace out.
Hello.
Hey. What's up?
Hey.
How's it going?
How are you guys?
Hey everyone.
Okay, guys, so this is the crew at Bustelos and Cigarellos. We have the big homie Booth. We have Captain Kim. We have DJ Brian and your boy Wax.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Thanks for the intro, Steph. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You know, I'm trying here, guys.
I appreciate it.
People, everybody was mad respectful. Here you come laughing.
You took Wax's job.
You did it perfect.
Y'all knew
I was literally going to do it the exact same.
But see, this is how you know I listened to your pod. I knew the order. I knew how to do it, you know, all of that.
That's the
We really appreciate you bringing us on.
Well, thank you guys for coming. I really truly appreciate it. I do. I hit you guys up, what, not even a week ago, maybe? Like, it wasn't that long ago. We just threw this shit together. We just threw it all together. I'm trying not to curse, guys. I have such a potty mouth.
Oh, good.
I'm not gonna not try to curse.
Well, at least you're being transparent.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna.
trying. My
18
mom,
and over
so
crowd. 18 and over.
Booth knows my mom now because now they're close friends. My mom tells me all the time to stop cursing, like all the time. And I'm just like, Mom, I don't know. Like, I learned it from you, so I don't even know what you want me to
Now we're cursing.
do.
Let the emotions out. Let the emotions
Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys get to it. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I know
Appreciate
it's
it.
gonna be fire.
Mhm.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Steph. We appreciate it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate everybody coming on and supporting this movement. We wanted to just give our own little take and information on what we feel that we want the people to know and understand. And I just want to throw it to Brian. Let Brian start it off. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Wax? Well, it's actually perfect because Steph put exactly what I was going to talk about on screen. So what I was going to talk about was the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and it ended legal separation of people by race in public places. That was 1964. Let's not forget that there was also, if we go 20 plus years prior to that, World War II ended in 1945. And in 1945, there was heroes, Black Americans coming back from the war, thinking that because they were heroes, they'll be treated differently. But it was completely differently. So it took another 20 years for Martin Luther King to have "I Have a Dream" speech to actually for the Civil Rights Act to get passed. But that act banned job discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, and national origin, which as a Latino, I'm also in there with the national origin. We would be treated differently if it wasn't because of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But even though that 1964 act, um, there was still racial discrimination for Black Americans in the South,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
especially so in March of 1964, a group in Alabama, they marched in protest of equal voting practices. And sad to say, the police attacked the protesters, even though they were doing it very peacefully. Some wanted to answer with violence, but Martin Luther King urged peaceful action instead. The event in Alabama pushed Congress to pass the Voting Rights Act. I know that we're having hard things happen, and we need to we need to know more about our history. We can't let the bad keep on repeating itself and keep on repeating itself, and all we just keep on doing is putting a little patch on it. We need to do things better, and we need to change it. 2020 is crazy, and I know 2020 is a crazy year, but we need to change our future for our kids and their kids. Um, it's tough. It's tough out here as a Latino, um, uh, because Latin people think that we're not supposed to be in this cause, but we are in this cause. Martin Luther King put us here, so we all need to fight for each other, with each other. And I support the Black Lives Matter movement. Um, it's tough out here. We need to educate the people that don't know what's going on, and the people that want to keep their eyes shut and just focus and just distract. We need to stop that.
Thanks, Brian, man. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yep, we're all here with you on that, Brian.
Facts.
Appreciate the education. We're gonna throw it. Let's give it to Kim, man. Kim, talk to the people.
What's up, guys? So kind of going from what Brian was just talking about, knowing the history, knowing these facts, I think is super duper key. Because the big monster here is the whole systematic racism. And really knowing what that is, I think will help us see how it's trickled down into everything that we're seeing and experiencing now, whether it be police brutality, whether it be racial profiling, discrepancies in the workplace. It's all part of this huge monstrous system that was created to keep slavery alive, really. So I have some notes here, so forgive me if I'm kind of going back and forth.
Bring out the notes.
Gonna bring out the notes.
Hit him with the notes.
Index cards.
So I want to talk about systematic racism just a little bit, because we could honestly talk about this for days and days and days on end. But as you all know, the foundation most definitely is of racism. The foundation of racism is American slavery. And we all know how African men and women were brought here, and how they were enslaved for hundreds of years. And what we have to realize is that once slavery was abolished, everything collapsed. The economy collapsed because the slave labor was gone. Who was going to be out there picking cotton now? Who was going to be out there handling all the dirty jobs that the slaves handled on a day-to-day basis? So they had to find another way to keep Black people working for them and enslaved. And essentially, shortly after slavery was abolished, the government found another way to keep Black people from their rights as human beings by creating the prison system that has now exploded into what it is today in the United States. And the way that they did that was in the 13th Amendment. So I don't know if you know, but the 13th Amendment was that to free and abolish slavery, to free Black people. And there's a clause that states, except as a punishment of crime, right? So then what happens? There's this loophole now that people have to create a tool to use now, and they definitely exploited that. So they used this after the Civil War. There was like an explosion of Black people getting arrested for petty crimes, small things, loitering or whatever it was, immediately profiled as being rageful and dangerous, and the whole notion of what a Black man is and how you got to protect your white women, and all of that started literally at that time. And what's the best way to re-enslave these people? We lock them up, and now they have all the slaves in their custody, well, all the Black people in their custody again, and they use them and revert them back into labor workers. And that's really what the prison system was, another way to gain labor and boost the economy back up again. And it perpetuated and trickled out from there. And the prison system, the policing, everything down to healthcare, job disparity, everything that we basically see now, and there are all these little separate fights for, it's all part of a bigger system. And really going back and educating yourself on how we got exactly to where we are now, I think is really important, because you have to take that apart piece by piece in order to really and truly get justice.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. You touch on a really good point. It's funny because I actually was thinking the same thing. I'm Wax, and I just really wanted to take this time to speak to the people more so about the education, from multiple angles. I want to start with educating our people in the communities. I think with I want to give a round of applause for Breonna's law, you know what I mean, that was passed,
Yes.
that disarms police enforcers from raiding a home unannounced. I want to applaud New York and Minnesota for changing and banning chokeholds in the honors of George Floyd and Eric Garner. We need to take this time to really educate our youth. Steffi said it best, man. It's the kids that are gonna change this thing. It's the most fearless generation that we've ever experienced. Their exposure to the internet has left them like open. Their ability to soak up information has become so much greater due to the internet, and a lot more people are waking up and starting to see. And I want this time for us to kind of throw to a kickback of what came out of the 60s. Like you guys said, it wasn't that long ago. A term came out of that time called each one teach one. This is a time that we need to go back to that. It's about grabbing at least one, a nephew, a brother, a sister, a niece, a cousin, anyone who is young and still searching, still trying to find information. It's about guiding them in the right direction and letting them know this is where we were and this is where we're trying to go. And then you should try to find your part in it and not just letting them walk through this world blindly, because there's people out there, as we have seen, who are literally looking to take them down. A good friend of mine brought up to me through the music and hip hop scene, which is the #1 in the world. They're allowing us to take care of one end where they help populate their jail systems, because we get very braggadocious and we get super amped up about the things that we used to do to get here. And because our kids are not educated enough, a lot of them fall victim of thinking that, oh, that's the thing to do. And then they end up in these prison systems. And lately, it seems as though they have been gunning down the people who mean the most to the community. Our EMTs, our community activists and leaders. People can say whatever they want about George Floyd, but the man was a changed man. Anybody that has anything to say about him will say that. The man was in the community helping people. So we have to really start educating our children and letting them know that these are the things that you should look out for, so that if history is cyclical and these things are to come back up, you'll be better prepared for it and know how to handle it. I want us to also be free to recognize our non-Black and brown people. Recognize the people who may have listened to Wu-Tang, where we at right now, listen to ASAP, listening to a lot of this culture, trying to emulate this culture, and are now just waking up to realizing like, wow, my family's like that. I'm not like, I don't want to be like that. We need to try to create a space where it's like, all right, cool. You don't want to be like that? Come over here and talk to me, man. Let me educate you on how we could be cool, how we could build, and how we could grow. Using this time really to put people on that want to be put on. The world is listening, man. And as long as they listening, we need to keep roaring and we need to keep screaming. Right now, I'm gonna throw it to my man Booth. Booth, what's up?
Hi, everybody. Hi. So, I you guys touched on so much right there. Everybody has spoke up already. I wanted to bring up something that always struck a weird chord with me, right? So most everybody here is from New York, right? Every podcast here. So everybody's familiar with the stop and frisk thing, right? The method of them being able to stop you and check you for no apparent reason. You got
4
stopped
times?
4 times.
Got it 4 times.
4 times.
See,
Wow.
I was stopped once as I waited to get a haircut, and then I was given a ticket saying, "Hey, you're trespassing because you're standing here But if you wanted to be in the barbershop, you would stand here.
Wow.
So I got a ticket for that, just because it was me and a couple other guys out there. But in New York, they said stop and frisk is dead, right? Everybody here is aware that supposedly stop and frisk is dead.
Yeah.
Last year, the NYPD reported 13,459 stops,
Damn.
which 8,867 were innocent.
Damn.
7,981 were black. 3,869 were Latin. And 1,215 people were white. So when people use phrases like, "Oh, I don't understand why they're rioting," like, or they called it looting, or they called it anything they wanted to call it, right? All I saw was people were fed up, people were tired, people, it's we were just dealing with COVID-19. Some of us aren't gonna get our jobs back, and now we're here, and we've been here, and you guys just don't seem to get this process. Like, hey, we're people too. We're all people. Everybody here is people. You don't get a certain right to it, right? And I personally have a disdain for the NYPD. I'm sorry if you guys are watching. Fuck you. But they've been targeting minorities for a really long time, and
Yeah.
the weird part about this country is that we built this fucking country, right? We did everything in this country, right? For some old geezer from Montana to tell me, hey, go back to your fucking country, right? No, you go back to your country. The problem is you have no idea where your country is. And the reality that George Floyd passed away over a dude just fucking, I didn't understand what the fuck he gained from it. You know what I mean? That's what, and pardon the curse, but I told you I was gonna curse.
It's okay.
I don't understand what was the purpose? Like, I couldn't even, then the guy next to him could have stopped this. Like any of these other scenarios could have played out. They didn't. The racial profiling is deep in this country's core. The other day I posted up a whole bunch of, why do we have the KKK? Like, why is the KKK around?
Right.
Like, why is that cool and we can't have the Black Panthers?
And you can't have a Black Panther party. That's nuts.
I just want everybody to realize. First of all, I'm a Spanish male, but Wax could tell you, I'm a black dude. Like here, it. So when my Dominican people denounce their black, or anything that's going on like that, it's ridiculous to me, bro. It's just ridiculous. Like, people needed to understand we're all the same people. We live this world together.
Word.
And racial profiling, the part that really gets to me is white people do really crazy crimes, dog. White people do really crazy crimes. That's right. So why are we not stopping that?
Let's not talk about it. Not talk about it.
Let's see. I was told that there was a question for Wax in here.
But I also want to say one thing on the
Black man during this time.
on the passing of the law of the chokehold. Didn't they say when Eric Gardner got the chokehold that it was not legal to do a chokehold at that time? So
yeah.
So
what they did,
for them to repeat a thing, I believe is like another cycle that just
well,
keeps
I think now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
ahead.
Brian. I think now what it is that the officer can actually be criminally charged for.
Yeah, now they can charge them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's actually banned. It's an actual banned maneuver. It's an actual banned.
Yeah.
I
And
did
I'm
see.
sure the wording of it, right? So like, you know, maybe the previous wording of it was completely different and they use that to skew the fucking law into their favor, you know, like
Create a
they usually,
Right.
loophole.
yeah,
Yeah.
create a
So
loophole. And
here's also the thing, not to cut you guys off, but police are governed statewide, not nationwide. So
Right.
if there's a law here, it doesn't mean that there's a law in Cali. And
exactly.
the cop who killed, I could be wrong, but I've read the cop who killed George Floyd actually was fired from another precinct in another state or something
Yeah, yeah.
along those lines.
I,
Or
I,
that's happened before. I'm not sure if it really happened with George Floyd, but that's definitely something that could happen and has happened. So I think
Yeah.
what everyone is trying to do, or what the goal is to have the police force governed nationwide, so that they or have nationwide rules for all the police force. So it would be a federal law. You can't use a chokehold.
Mhm.
You know, so
Yeah, correct.
We're gonna have to tackle it on the state level. I wanted to address Taylor. I seen your question. As a black man, what am I doing to help take care of my mental? I'm trying to redistribute my focus more so back into like just organically inside. So like the proper things that I'm eating. I cleared off a lot of things off of my Instagram and my YouTube that I was subscribed to and people that I was following that really didn't give me any knowledge. I've been like waking up and seeing a lot of different people that not only am I interested by, but they like really help educate me. And I've been putting a lot more into like my little sisters. As everybody know, or as a lot of people may know, I have 5 little siblings, all girls. The oldest is gonna be 18 on June 20th. She graduates high school on June 24th, and she is the valedictorian of her high school. One time for my sister. I'm very big on educating the youth. Very, very, very big on educating the youth. Very big on them being free to express themselves in whichever way that they want. I'm very big on breaking the cycle that my parents and my uncles and the things that I've seen them, and that's totally outside of, you know, what we're talking about right now, but there's a lot of similarities that play into it. And where I want her to focus on is educating herself, making sure that she takes advantage of school, knowing how to go get a scholarship, knowing what it's like to apply to different schools and to be interviewed, and helping her out with those things. And that's kind of, it gives me joy, man, 100%.
yeah, definitely. That's actually a beautiful thing. The fact that she's valedictorian as well, like that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
And especially to do that with this being her senior year of high school, like I can only
Super
imagine what
disappointed.
she went
can't
through.
really like super disappointed. Disappointed.
She didn't have
Super
prom or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
trying
that's
to
just to
do
go
something real big.
also on Boof's point. Like everyone is just frustrated. Like we're all mad. You know, I know people who literally just got their first unemployment check like within the past 2 weeks, and they've been claiming since March. Like
Yeah.
everyone is saying, "Oh, unemployment is cool, you get this money," but not everyone is getting the money,
A lot of
and
people falling through
it's
the
scary.
100%. Steph, yo, we really appreciate you bringing us on. It's the crew, your boy Wax, Booth, Kim, Brian. We appreciate y'all, man. Don't forget to donate, man. This is a very positive cause, man.
Yes.
Word.
Did Steph freeze?
Steffi.
Steph.
I see her talking. I can't hear her though.
Yeah,
she's back.
I was
Stay on.
frozen, guys.
So we're gonna stay on.
We back.
Sorry, guys. I mean, we made it through the whole hour. I will say that it's 9:05.
Word.
Cricket Wireless is gonna get you at some point.
But thank you
Shut
for
up.
bringing
Wireless
us.
strikes again.
Thank you, Steph, for
Um,
bringing us on.
Thank you, sir.
Peace,
Thank you,
Steph.
guys. I do want to thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I do want to bring Chris back on because there was a question for him earlier.
And I'm back.
Hey.
What's up?
So I just wanted to bring you back on. We kind of like threw them off asking for the questions and they weren't prepared.
Right.
So the Mermaid and the Lion podcast wanted to know, do you see more support for the LGBTQIA plus since this movement, or not really?
You forgot the plus.
I tried.
I do feel like we are getting a little bit more, you know, more people rallying behind us, but at the moment it's not about us, you know, it's about Black Lives Matter. But yes, more people are becoming a little bit more, you know, supporting us and all that good stuff, which is great. But I want to point out to you guys, and like I said when I spoke earlier, that we are still fighting for our rights. We're still fighting. Just now, as I finished doing my whole little segment, it was announced that the Trump administration just erased transgender civil rights protections in healthcare. So therefore, when trans people go to the hospital or whatever the case may be, they can be denied because they are trans. And like I said, the fight does not stop, it does not end, and we will continue. But yes, I've definitely seen a lot of support for my community, but right now it's not really about us.
Right.
It's about Black Lives Matter. And I also wanted to go with what Booth said as well. He said he is a Dominican man, but he is also Black. I too am Dominican, and I am a Black man. So,
Right.
you know, you know, when it comes to, you know, people of color, it is what it is, you know, and it's annoying sometimes when Dominican people will be like, oh no, we're not Black. And I'm like, y'all better shut up. You know, I'm trying not to curse, my bad.
I was trying to do the same thing. It really didn't work for me. And that actually goes, Taylor wanted to know if any of us have actually cut off anyone close to us due to the movement. I'm not sure if anybody else has cut off anyone close. I haven't cut off anyone close. It's more so showed me who's down and who isn't. And if, like I said earlier, if you're not on the right side of history, I really can't fuck with you. And I'm not going to apologize for cursing because I really cannot fuck with you if that's
No,
what you're about.
that deserved a curse. It definitely deserved a curse. But I haven't had to cut off anybody close to me, thankfully. There are people who I do know that I did cut off, but we weren't that close anyway. So it was very like, okay, you can go. We're good.
Right. Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions for anybody else who was here? I know there were a couple of questions in the chat. The BNC, Daisy, you guys want to come back on? We can just close this out.
Yo.
Hi, guys. Hey, now we're all back.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm not sure if I'm here. Hi, guys.
Hi. Okay, so has anyone in here had to cut off anyone close to them because of the movement?
I did, and I put it in the chat just now too. I did. I cut off actually 5 people. No questions asked. 2 of them were family members, so blood related. I just have zero tolerance for the ignorance. I feel specifically when people are raised in New York City and then they move to another state and they pretend like they suddenly forgot of how life is in New York City, like it didn't happen to them. Let me go back a few more times. I have a problem with people who I know for a fact their parents crossed the borders and swam through rivers and got here, and suddenly they think they're full-blown American here and they owe nothing to nobody. So I have a problem with that. I have a problem when they forgot what it was to be raised in New York City and all the discrimination, and then they go to another state, and so because the state that they go to is more Confederate or is more white people and is more racist, suddenly they have to just fit in and forget of what the struggles are in these states that we live in, and that we really still see a lot of this going on. And newsflash, it's going on all over the country regardless. So I did cut off people. I know some people are very upset with me. I quite frankly don't care. They don't pay my rent, they don't feed me, and excuse my language, they don't fuck me either. So that's just how it is. Like, I'm just not going to tolerate bullshit from anybody. Like, don't come on my pages to comment anything of what I'm posting, period. That's it. And it doesn't hurt anymore. It hurts to see the ignorance and the racist comments. It doesn't hurt to have to lose relationships with people who don't belong in your life.
Right. I've had some issues with some coworkers where they just don't speak up about the matters at hand at all. It's like they're living in their own personal bubble. They can talk about anything and everything, you know, what type of beans they put in their rice, not to sound racist, but that's literally what they were talking about. And it was just ridiculous. I take it upon myself to bring these conversations up to the forefront. So I'm going to talk about it loud, and I'm going to talk about it proud, and I'm going to talk about it in front of you. And I'm going to make you uncomfortable because I know it's making you uncomfortable, but you're going to hear what I have to say, regardless if you want to talk about it or not.
Right, right.
So the BNC has a question in the chat, and it says, now that you guys have invested so much time increasing your knowledge on the issues, what do you think you will do with this information going forward?
I think the first thing that I'm going to start doing is educating myself on all of these like local laws and like really getting into the nuances. I'm kind of meticulous like that. When I get a little focused on something, I kind of dig really deep into it and research wise. And I've kind of just really been turned on to the fact that there are a lot of things and a lot of things that I probably voted for that are in play right now that I'm completely not with. You know, I was victim of being the guy like, oh man, Obama's in office, he's a Democrat. Democrats all the way down. I have no idea what their actual policies are. I have no idea what they're voting on, where their stances are. So I'm going to go back into doing that. I'm trying to do as much research as I can before I actually go and vote, so I'm making the right decision. But yeah, that's where I'm standing with it right now.
Yeah, same here. I'm also looking at every law because there's some laws that will help you and there's other laws that are going to hurt you. So don't only focus on the laws that you want to benefit. Look at all the laws, and we could clearly see a better picture of what's going on, and then we could hopefully change things.
I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
for me, it was I always, and Wax will tell you because I talked to Wax about this before. I wanted to run for city council, to be honest. I wanted to run for city council
You
a while
should.
ago.
He definitely said
You
that
still
like a year and a
can.
half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like that's where a lot of the disconnect happens. Like, you know, those motherfuckers. I've met almost every one of those people, from the mayor all the way, and they're kind of unrelatable. They're kind of like they don't. I'm like, yo, me and you don't live the same life, and I get that, but you also don't really take the time to learn my life. Like, you know, your life is from a privileged position, right? Like, you go jogging, motherfuckers protect you. I go jogging, I gotta protect me. You know what I mean? So so I've always thought that that's where the disconnect happens in a lot of levels. You know, so I really want to look into stuff like that. I really wanted to see if like that's something plausible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
That's where all the change happens. At this
Yeah.
point, you know, it's just crazy. We have to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, can I chime in real quick? I just wanted to say, also, I just thought about it. Carmen De La Rosa, Congresswoman Carmen De La Rosa, speaking of at this time when Booth was talking about running for city council, we went to a convention. There was a lot of different people there that represented different parts of the city. And a woman that I'd known from college, who's always been on top of her game, come to find out, graduated college, now into like Congress, doing a lot of big things. And she's born and raised in the Bronx. Look her name up, Carmen De La Rosa. She's in the neighborhoods looking to make a lot of change, man. She's doing big things out there.
Good info. Good info.
Actually, to add to that, I have seen Carmen De La Rosa partner up with another council member, Victor Pichardo, who I actually went to high school with here in the Bronx too. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so they're both phenomenal, and they both definitely have teamed up a lot here in the Bronx. Yeah.
Why you ain't tell them that I was getting an award, yo?
Booth was getting the award. Booth was actually getting the award.
I'm so sorry, guys. I apologize. I failed you.
Your brother 6'8", black male with dreads. I'm from Brooklyn, Brownsville, New York. I completely understand. There's a lot of men out here in Brownsville and East New York that fit that description, and we've all had just wild, random instances. I remember when I was younger, I used to live in Marcus Garvey projects out here in Brownsville when I was super young, and I used to ride my little bike over to a friend's house who's probably like 5 blocks away from me, right? And at the time, I had like those plastic Nike bags, the string ones that you just like, it's super light, and I had video games inside. Cop pulls me over from riding my bike, tells me get off the bike. Hand on his gun, doesn't pull it yet. Lift your shirt up, spin around. Still has not actually introduced himself. I'm only doing it because the cop is telling me to do it with his hand on the gun. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, so he goes, what's in the bag? Video games. Open the bag, show him. All right, cool. My man then pulls out a little plastic bag. Now, mind you, I'm like 11, 12. You know what this is? I kind of knew what it was. Didn't want to say what was in the little plastic bag with white powder on it. He throws it at my chest. Me being smart enough, because I grew up with some uncles, again, who fit that description, who have told me, if you speak to any cop, you keep it very minimal. You're headed home. You're always headed home. And you don't know nothing. They ask you to see your ID. You give them the ID. You don't talk. You don't say nothing. Because literally, the more you talk, the more they're trying to set you up. That is the way that I came up. So you don't try to say much. It hit my chest. It fell to the floor because I knew better than to touch it. Do you know what that is? No, sir, I don't know what that is. You sure you don't know what that is? No, I don't know what that is. Looked at my ID. Where you going? Oh, I was just about to head back home. I had to stop going to my boy's house, turn around, go back to my house, just so that this cop could see that I was headed back to my crib, just so that I wouldn't get fucked with. You know what I mean? Like the things that Black men have to grow up with and experience and kind of like live their lives with. And people go, well, I just don't get it. Like, you know, you have the same experiences I do. No, we don't. Not really.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very real thing that happens to a lot of people all over the country. Like, it's not just something that happens in Brownsville. Like, that's just everywhere. And people, Black men are going through it. Black women are going through it. Just Black people in general. And it's just something that we have to spread the word. And like I said earlier, I like to make people uncomfortable. I like to bring up this conversation in front of people who don't like to talk about it. Because that's the only way they're going to learn. You have to force it on them, actually.
That's a fact.
Unfortunately. But I do have good news, guys, because we're nearing the end of the show. We have actually raised $1,011 for Pod.
Amazing.
Everyone who's in the
Wow.
chat did a great job. Like, you guys, everyone who supported, like, you're really gonna make me cry. I'm really a crybaby, and I have lashes, so I'm trying not to cry right now. But this was beautiful. Like, we really made it happen, like, in a week, guys. Like, we really did it. You know, some minor technical issues, but nothing crazy. But I'm so proud of everyone who's here and everybody who participated, because it was really amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you for having us and for just waking up with an idea one day and getting us on board. You know, I dare to challenge everyone in the comments too, just like we're all individually doing our contribution to the cause and spreading awareness and education. I challenge all of you to continue doing so for your friends, for your families. And I will say this very upfront, for anyone who isn't Black, check on everyone who is brown and Black and make sure their mental is good and that they are safe and that you are protecting who you claim to love. And it is not at all, Amir said this in my episode, it is not at all the Black community's job to educate all of you. Everyone here is an adult.
Yes.
So the same way we're doing it, you do it for yourselves too. You educate yourself, you become aware. I had a conversation with someone the other day and that person said, it is our job now to be on the front line and to protect our Black brothers and sisters because their mental is drained. There's too much going on in the world right now. And as it is, they already feel so targeted. So we have to do our part. Everyone has to do your part. So I challenge everyone to get involved, to spread awareness, educate, do what your part is. That was one of the hashtags in this. Do your part. So please do it. Do it and
keep
do it
the
strong.
Conversation going.
Yes.
Keep the conversation going. Stay informed. Taylor said it best. Vote. We have to vote, guys. As much as they try to distract us and as much as they're trying to make it hard for us to vote, we have to do it.
Yes.
And voting in New York, don't forget it is on June 23rd.
In New York.
Yeah.
Yes, and put your money where your mouth is. So
Right. Right.
yes, take it out of the businesses that support the people you don't want it to support, and then put it in the smaller credit unions and things like that, where it can allocate, give you a better interest rate, and actually support you better on at the end of, put your money where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Guys,
Exactly.
there is a comment in the chat. It says, "This was amazing from French Boy. We need more events like this." French Boy, I'm going to tell you right now, that's something we've actually have thought of for the long term. I like to call them long-term solutions, not short-term fixes. So let's see how it goes. All right. Because this needs a long-term solution, not short-term fixes. So we will
Absolutely.
definitely, we know who our listeners are. So we would definitely let everyone know what would ever be in the works. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. Does anybody else have anything else to say?
I just want to share one thing with the group.
Here we go.
And what is it? Hold on, everybody relax.
I don't know. You're about to be vulnerable. So.
I want to tell you guys that I love you guys.
Mm.
Everybody here, everybody, and that isn't on the screen, and everybody that's in the chat. I love you guys.
Right.
Let me just be vulnerable, Wax.
Be vulnerable, dog. I told you there's gonna be a safe space.
But I especially love Big Sis, and you know why? Because of stuff like this.
Yes.
Thank you. I love
Is
you.
that the
too.
Christmas card?
Oh wait,
I also have one from Big Sis. I also have one from Big Sis. I love it. I have two.
Yes.
I have two. Yeah.
Yes. I had it on my fridge, Amir. Thank you.
FYI, I expect one this year.
So
Just an
do I.
FYI.
I can give you one. I still got some from last year. Girl.
Recycle.
That is hilarious.
You want to know what my favorite is? This one right here. The one with the mini Amirs.
Yeah.
That's dope.
All right,
Personal
guys.
gifts that matter.
So I think that's it for right now.
All righty.
This was a great event. It lasted just as long as I thought it would.
Yeah.
Movie night.
We're gonna do movie night.
I'm actually going on a date.
Well, excuse
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Right, I'm jealous too.
Me too.
We're not gonna say the hashtag in here, but yes. So, don't do it, boo.
No, we're not. Please don't. Please don't.
All right. Okay, professional. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming. This was
Thanks,
great.
everybody.
Let us know if you want to see more things like this in the future. Maybe we can put things together for you. We don't know, but
I have quick question. Since everyone who has subscribed to, the link for this event, would we be able to send like a follow-up email to them with all of our contacts, our social medias, and maybe even our emails in case they do have questions for us, or they want to
most definitely.
What they want to hear from us too, while we continue conversation on our platforms as well.
Oh, and also I almost forgot, guys, whoever donated over $30 will be entered into a raffle. It will be announced tomorrow on the Do I Look Fat podcast live. I'll go on tomorrow, like around 8:00, and we'll announce a winner who, will get a little swag bag from all of us here at Pods for Bonds.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Amir, for
Thank
coming.
you.
You're welcome. Y'all stay black and be proud.
Stay safe, everybody.
Love that.
Stay black and blessed.
Like, I
I'll see
love
y'all later.
Black and
Bye,
blessed. Yes.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.